Kendo Podcast episode 192. In this episode, I want to talk about Ma.
Kendo Podcast by Hiro Mafuji from Kendo-Guide.com. Thank you for listening. This podcast is about Japanese martial arts Kendo for Kendo lovers and supported by Kendo enthusiasts through Patreon.com. Thank you for your support, guys. Please visit Kendo-Guide.com for more Kendo information and how to support Kendo-Guide.com.
Welcome to Kendo Podcast episode 192. Okay, now, as you can hear, I'm driving and I'm driving a little smaller car today, so maybe the noise is louder. Please forgive me. I cannot do anything about it. But I always remove noise from the recorded sound. So I think when you hear the podcast, probably you don't really hear this, annoying noise. So hopefully I can remove some of it this time too. Now, coronavirus is going around and attacking people all over the world. Of course, China, people in China is probably scared the hell out of themselves probably, and it just arrived in the US too. Now, I don't know exactly. Today, as of I'm recording this, when is it today? March 5th or 6th? I think it's 6th. So, as of today, I don't really know how many people are infected by it in US. Probably yesterday it was like 120 something. I'll see today how many of them are infected. So please be careful, guys. It doesn't matter how, we can't see the thing is, we can't see the virus. So you just have to protect yourself, and you might have it already because you don't know, until you get tested, right? So that's the scary thing about the virus. Until it, we don't know how long is the incubation period, so it just happened. If you don't know if you're carrying it until you get sick, right? So that's the scary part. And then the most scary part is no one knows at this moment how to cure it and how to so we really have to do our best not to get it, right? So everyone, stay alert. And let's be careful. Now, I'm going to talk about Ma. And this is a very difficult concept. I think I talked about it in the past too, or I wrote about it somewhere. Ma is two things in Japanese. And I want to explain the kanji for that. Ma is, the kanji for Ma is in between. Okay, so that's why we call it, we translate it as distance. So it's between you and your person, not your person. See, I'm driving and I'm distracted, so I'm everywhere. But anyway, you and your opponent. So it's between you and your opponent. That's Ma, okay? So physically, it's about distance, okay? And I'm sorry, I just the sky on the east side is starting lighten up. I was driving now it's 6:18 a.m. and in the winter, middle of the winter, it was so dark, dark. But now I can see light coming from the east. I think it's really beautiful. But anyway, okay, so physical Ma is distance because And if you know the kanji for ma, right, in between, it's between you and your opponent. Okay, that's why it's distance. It is translated as distance. What else? Ma. Okay, we call it. We translate it as timing as well. Now, why is it timing? All right, can you guess why? Ma. Okay, it's ma, as in timing, is if between action to another action. So if something happens and next thing happens, okay, so it's between one action to another action. That's ma. Okay, so that's why when we talk, oh, that was very bad ma. So sometimes it refers to it was very bad distance, and also it is very bad timing. It wasn't good opportunity for you to strike. So it depends on the situation, depends on what you are talking about. The ma in English or in some other language, maybe it's same in some other language, but we have to translate it into distance or timing. So, but the concept, if you know the concept, you can kind of see, oh, that's why, Kendo, sometimes sensei says ma in different ways. If you're in Japan especially, this is very useful to know. Ma it can be distance or can be timing. It's because of the concept. So, ma is in between. So we use ma when we talk, all right? In Japanese comedy, ma is very important. So in this case, ma is timing. So when something happens and you say something, of course, what you say is very important as well. But sometimes you laugh your butt off because of the silence as well. Silence. And you wonder what happened, right? It makes you wonder. Nothing is going on, but it's only silence. But this silence is also action, because that makes you react to it, right? So between something happened and silence, and something will happen because of the silence, right? So in Kendo as well. So what that means is it's tame. Silence part is tame. I think at least that's how I understand at the moment. Something you get in to your striking distance and your opponent feel this pressure, and then intensity between your opponent and you increases, and nothing happens there. The silence, that's tame. Okay, but this tame is also action. Silence is action. Without action, something will happen after this. So if you can control this silence, is it shorter silence or longer silence? Your opponent will confuse. It doesn't mean shorter is better or longer is better. It depends on the situation, depends on your opponent. This timing, the best length of the silence is different. That's why it's very hard. That's why same, in comedy as well. Sometimes it happens by accident, but if you can cause it, if you can make it happen on purpose, isn't it great? That's why those people who can make other people laugh all the time, they can control their silence. Now, I think in the old days, Miyazaki Masahiro sensei from Kanagawa, now he's a thumb. Back in old days, he was winning all Japan championships in the past six times. He won all Japan championship ships 6 times. I think 2 times he won 2 years in a row. Okay, so we called him the monster, But back then, he was criticized for his kendo style. But I'm not going to talk about that now. But the one thing I realized was he has different ma. He had at least different ma back then. How he executed his techniques completely different timing at different timing. You never thought about it. We never thought about how can he strike like that? Because it's very, I don't know. It's completely different timing from so-called this is kendo timing. People couldn't do anything. It was new timing. So that's why I think it's a part of the reason he won so many times is he has different ma from other people, and that was, I think, that was his own rhythm. Yeah, in this case, probably we have to use rhythm, different rhythm than other people. We have kendo. If you do kendo, we always are told this is how you do, right? And we learn kind of all the people has the same timing. But what if we have different timing, different rhythm of striking? Now one, get it, strike. 1, 2, 1, 2, or 1, 2. Well, 1, 2, So different rhythm confuses your opponents, obviously, right? So I think it's ma, in this case, rhythm, your rhythm, and your opponent's rhythm is ma too. In this sense, it's kind of time. How you strike, you have your own rhythm, and your opponent has his own rhythm or her rhythm. And if you can get his or her rhythm, you can intentionally, what do you call it? You don't want to, kind of mismatch the rhythm. So, or I think that's very important. When you want to win, we always say you have to match your energy with your opponent. This is another thing we have to talk about probably in the other podcast. You have to match the energy. You have to meet your energy. And you have to get the same kind of energy level. Harmonize you and yourself with your opponent, all right? And it sounds like, we have to kind of have the same type of rhythm. But if you have the same type of rhythm, it's very deep. You can match the rhythm so you can win, or you can match rhythm so you can't win. I know some people go, huh? But it is true, especially if the example in Kendo, if older people, like older sensei, imagine 70 years old sensei going against 18 years old. Do you think they have the same rhythm? I don't think so. Speed is different, right? But what they are controlling, older sensei is controlling, is ma. In this case, both distance and timing. And they don't match the rhythm. If they match the rhythm, that means when you strike, your opponents will strike, right? So that is speed-wise, younger people are faster, of course, right? Younger people are faster, and of course, I'm not saying older people are not fast, but if you compare 18 years old versus 70 years old, it's kind of physically, I'm not ageist. physically, probably 18 years old, younger people will strike 70 years old senseis. If they go 1-2 strike man, 1-2 go, right? But in Kendo, we don't do that. We don't strike 1-2 go. We strike because we strike on different timing, right? We have to control our students, but this is also harmonized, but different rhythm. If you don't harmonize with your opponent, you can't even read the rhythm, right? Of course, okay. Now it's very philosophical and it's getting very confused, so I'm not going to talk about it anymore. All right, so important thing is for you to remember, distance is physical, so you gotta learn it first, right? Physical, from when you can strike, from where you can strike. That's very important for you to know. If you don't know your own distance, you can't even reach, or you get too close. Now, once you know that, you gotta control timing, you know. So you gotta learn. This happens, from this happens, and that happens. Control this when, you know, this spacious time. From one point action to another action. Control the timing. So that's another thing you can try. Maybe if you get start, third dan, fourth dan, you kind of have to start doing that, because 1-2 go won't work against higher grade holders. So because they control, so you have to learn how to control that too. Sooner is better. Thinking about it, and of course you have to learn physical distance, physical ma first, and then you gotta learn this spacious, as in like time-wise, timing, ma. All right, and I said space, territory. This is ma as well. Like if you think about, he got into my distance, that means into your territory. If you know the terms personal space, that is your distance, right? So someone gets into your personal space, you feel uncomfortable, right? That is what we do in Kendo. Someone gets into your distance, your personal space, you feel uncomfortable. When you feel uncomfortable, what are you going to do? Are you going to step backwards, or are you going to strike? So this is kind of psychological, and you have always choices, and whatever your choice, they will do. They will choose what they're going to do, right? So these things are going on between you and your opponent. They are thinking the same thing. You're thinking the same thing. You're trying to strike them. They're trying to strike them. Same thing, right? And you're trying to occupy their personal space, and then they're trying to control the time, right? Timing. So when to execute is another key. If you don't execute, your opponent execute their technique, and what are you going to do against their technique? So that is how that we always try to read this ma in both distance and timing. So if you try to think about that in your next training, probably you will have more fun. Maybe you'll hate it because you're thinking, but if you start thinking about it, Kendo will become more enjoyable. Thank you for listening, and I am starting. Well, did I start? Yeah, I have already started. On YouTube, Kendo Kata study video series. So please, I probably should have link underneath this podcast, so you can just check out those videos. Now I'm trying my very best to. I'm doing my very best to make videos when I have time at home or outside after work, after work before training. And it's very like I only have 1 hour or something every day, so I have to feed myself. Of course, my wife is not home when I get home. All my family is not home when I get home because of my kids learning stuff. So usually I'm alone and I'm gonna feed myself and I do all kinds of stuff, and then I do video editing. So and then by around after like 30 minutes, my family comes back home. So I'm gonna spend time with my family. So my schedule is very tight, but I am doing what I can. So please stay tuned, and I still keep making those Kendo contents. So please be supportive, and please wait until more videos and podcasts are coming up. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next podcast. I would like to send special thanks to patrons for their constant support through patreons.com/Kendo for Life.